You are now listening to Radio Drama Game, a place where you choose and we perform for you. Episode 2: The Blonde, the Shadow, and the Actor. This was an interesting day, and nothing was bothering it, even the weather. It was stormy, hot, and air was very stuffy. The positive side was that the singing lady didn't have enough strength in her lungs to make her shrieks. Sounds so awful that some local voodoo priests direct tourists to our street. Listen to the sounds of death at the haunted hotel. These are the screams of true Madame Lalaurie. And maybe they are. Whatsoever, the day started slow. My assistant Marta wasn't here, what a surprise, but her canary was very anxious by the thunders. Yes, I keep an animal in a hotel. I told concierge that if this respectable resort keeps variety of rodents in my place as a live entertainment, a tiny bird in a huge metal rustic cage hanging on an enormous steel forged stand in front of a main window shouldn't make any difference. The cage must be metal so the rats are not gonna eat the canary. Martha says that she cannot keep Carl, the canary, at her place because her landlady has a cat, and my office is so lifeless that she needs Carl as a therapeutic animal. It's only for a few days, Jack. Me and Carl are pals for 3 years now. Sometimes I pity that Carl is not a parrot. I could talk to him, after some time he would talk back, and after some time he would make Martha's job for the fraction of her salary. So I sat at my big oak desk that had been here with other furniture when I rented the place, got a few fat woodworms that eat this piece of colonial craftsmanship alive, as well as my files, pencils, cigarettes, and gave them to Carl. Am I not self-sufficient? Carl is now the size of a pigeon. Damn, I really should go out more, or I turn into a crazy ornithologist who talks to himself. So anyway, I sat and waited for the phone, or doorbell, to make the same client announcing noise. It was nearly 5 p.m. and nothing. So I lit the cigarette, looked if the weather's gonna clear, pour some comfort to soothe the existential pain, and when it started for good. First was a couple wanting me to find their daughter. They told me a story that might be worth my time. Mr. Jack, my name is Wilhelm Kloss, but everyone call me Willy. This is my wife, Ursula. We came from Dubuque, Iowa. The man was very distinguished, reserved, with strong German accent. I'd say he was 60s. His dark wool suit, alligator boots, white shirt with onyx cufflinks suggested that he's a gentleman of wealth. However, his wife looked rather like his poor sickly cousin. I know that the stress can give you 20 years in one day. The lady had to be beautiful at some point in her life, but now, nervously moving bloodshot eyes, grey thin-out hair and wrinkled cheap flowery linen dress suggested that the husband is here only to ease his wife's hysteria, while he thinks things are not as bad as poor woman believes. A really odd couple. Ursula thinks that our daughter was kidnapped by who, darling?
I do not know who, but they changed her. It is not my daughter. It is her doppelganger that is missing.
Excuse me? I said, yet I saw that the woman senses the fact that her words make her look more unstable than she possibly is. Yes, my daughter Elsie is in fact missing now for 5 days. She studies liberal arts here at the University of New Orleans. Did you contact the police? Has anyone contacted you? Have you had some ransom indications? No ransom notes. We only contacted the police. But they, as well as I think it is one of these young people phases, when they feel overwhelmed by studying exams and need a little breathing time, self-time. She is legally adult, but only 20 years old. Had her Geburtstag, birthday, 2 weeks ago. However, Jack, I cannot stand the sight of my poor Ursula. It would be better if you found Elsie and told her to call her Marta.
It is not my daughter anymore,
Cried poor Frau.
She looks like Elsa, but speaks differently, behaves as if she just started to recognize things. She asked me once, Mutti, what is this? And she meant her laptop. Even her colleagues at the university don't recognize her anymore. She changed, really, just after her birthday. But you always wanted a son. You two barely stand each other. So how could you notice anything?
Poor woman. Did you see any change, Willie?
Of course he didn't. He thinks that Elsa is just going through a phase. But Mother knows things. Mr. Jack, please, find her and find out what happened to my dear Elsie.
Elsa was undergoing any medical treatment, I mean psychological, a shrink. Jack, we are respectable members of Dubuque German community. First generation, born in the USA. My father, Jürgen Kloss, was working for the Allies.
He was a Nazi, Willy, and you know it. Americans captured him and brought...
Halt die Klappe. Es ist nicht wichtig. Jack, it is important that you find Elsa. Ask her to call and calm her mother. We cannot be seen as verrückt, crazy. Money does not matter. Find her. Here is her picture. The photo showed a beautiful blonde with 2 braids, a sight that if seen in life certainly would make my blood rush, and what is more possible, could make any creep wanting to kidnap her. Elsa was a modern pin-up girl, assessing from the picture 5 feet tall, pleasantly curvy, not only remotely reminding her fading mother, but with live dark, her father's eyes. I took their phone number, some basic data about their daughter, and promised to call back. 10 minutes after Kloss left, I noticed that the ceiling is finally leaking. Paradoxically, this tiny dripping torrent right next to the lamp was welcomed by me. It was another argument in my favor to lower my rent. Rats, water birds, businessmen with alligator smile. Maybe after all, my office is placed in the middle of the bayou. As it was easy to assume, the water reached the bulb, which flashed and died with half of the hotel's breaker box. Now it was noir. I lit old kerosene lamp that I keep in the compartment of my desk, because power shortages in this flea bag are pretty common. 1 minute! I didn't even have time to answer when the door were kicked wide open. In corridor's backlight I could only see a silhouette of a quite stout man dressed in trench coat, Panama hat, and I also smelled a strange aroma.
Do you fish, Mr. Jack Cavellin?
What kind of question is that? Is it mob? I helped police once or twice to put away a few of those. Or is it a husband whose wife left him after I showed her pictures of him playing doctor with a secretary or babysitter? I had to act tough, no matter what. Hey, you! If this is some tricky question that you ask, and then, when whatever the answer, you're gonna say wrong and kick my teeth out, watch out, I have a gun. Somewhere here.
Oh no, not at all. I am sorry that I scared you, and I apologize about the door. But it seems to be okay. I still cannot control my strength. I may even say hands are a new concept to me. It is an honest question, sir. Do you fish?
The man spoke funny, as if speech was also a new concept to him. Due to the lack of light, I still couldn't see his face hidden under the wide-brimmed hat, but I could swear that something was glittering on his face, and the smell. Nice, but way too intense. What is it? I do not have time to fish, Mr.
Auratus. Carassius auratus. I am very pleased to hear that you do not indulge yourself in those hoi polloi barbarous sports. I see that electricity is already in my favor. I would like to ask you to dim your camping lamp. You do not need to see my face.
Well, those wishes of hiding faces are not as uncommon as one may think. Politicians, celebrities, even a housewife once, trust and anonymity are now pricier than gold. As you please, there's sir. Would you take a seat? And so we sat in the shadows of flickering light. My guest began to explain what had brought him to me, meanwhile asking me for about 5 or 6 glasses of water.
I would like you to find this man.
An enormous hand passed me a photo of some people wearing lab coats, celebrating something. One person was circled with a red marker, a 30, maybe 35 years old tall man, dressed in a lab coat and khakis, with one of those small party hats sitting on the top of his dark mop hair. Guy held a rat and a bottle of champagne. I could see that the photo was at least 30 years old due to a date written with pencil. 1981 and inscription: PSK Institute, Arizona. First successful vortex test on live organism. Well, do you have more recent photo? He's now what, at least 50, 60 years old?
Oh, do not worry. He hasn't changed much.
What's his name? Last known address?
That is all I have. You need to find him, and the faster you do, the better for all of us. If you succeed, I'll pay you with 5 of those.
That was genuine silver French franc from 1576. The coin alone was probably worth fortune. However, it was only what was written on the coin. I am no expert, but I've seen my share of forged money. He must have noticed my doubts.
I assure you it is real. The coins will come with proper paperwork. Please consider my offer.
And left, leaving me his very elegant business card with gilding around letters. Only then it struck me. Why the business card but not showing me his face? But I pin it on one of those rich people's things. They think they're clever, but they fail at the basics. As soon as the strangely odorous guest left, the janitor must have changed breakers and I could switch on my library-style green glass desk lamp. It was nearly 7:15 when this weird, nervous young fella ran into my office, sat in a chair, wetting it profoundly with his rain-soaked coat, and started talking as if someone pushed fast forward button on him. He was afraid that someone wants to kill him. His name was Alex Johnson. He was a young actor, not very popular, but did some movies as an extra. With his scrawny posture, wet hair, shifty alert eyes, he could get an Oscar for playing casualty of malaria. I offered him comfort. He accepted. I comforted myself again that day. When he'd calmed down, he started his story.
Man, what is this smell? Water lilies? Those hippie girls were crazy about them. It is impossible to extract smell from live ones, so all perfumes are synthetic. At least that's what they said.
Wow, lucky me. Another guest from the Twilight Zone.
And now, they're all dead or missing. You have to help me. The police are not interested and say that they probably went on tournée through Europe or Mexico or Suriname. Yeah, who would pay attention to some amateur losers actors? But I saw them dead, and I know it's all about this movie we all played in, and now I am the only one alive, and this director, this Pat Delves and his assistant are behind this all.
Was it Snuff?
What was what, Snuff?
The movie that you played in that would explain their death. Ooh, after 2 comforts I get so clever.
No, it was some costume flick titled Einladung about Austrian noblemen.
Aha! Germans again. Well, I really shouldn't drink at work.
What? No, Austrians speak German. The movie was about this dude mourning his wife, plus a bit of avant-garde, naked girls, eerie visions in his dreams. Silly stuff, really, but they paid good. Now all my colleagues are missing, my girlfriend too.
What was her name?
Lisa.
Elsa? I was about to kill two birds with one stone.
No, Lisa, why?
Doesn't matter. So tell me about this pet.
Delves. Pat Delves, but I'm certain this is not his real name. He speaks with foreign accent. I cannot quite nail it, but Ukrainian, Russian. So he and his assistant, beautiful Hazel Hattie Robbie.
A blues singer?
Do not think so. Despite her hip name, she was rather reserved and nubile. Stately woman of mesmerizing beauty, pale milk white skin, dark eyes and hair, breasts. Excuse me. I am also certain that she's not who she says she is. Her accent for me is impossible to identify at all. She made a few passes at the girls, but that was it. So I saw them today on my way here. But I am certain they have been following me ever since I was at Lisa's place. I found this.
A plain TDK VHS tape with a title Die Einladung on its back, written with those funny square stick-on letters that were attached to the cassettes. However, on the cover of the cassette, the title was handwritten and whoever wrote it must have been an avid calligrapher, but did not make an extra effort to add director's name there. So I see that in the digital age you really made a daring picture. Is this proof that Lisa didn't just leave and maybe has an affair with this beautiful Hazel Hattie Robbie? I had to check the unusual name in my notebook. And I mean a real notebook, a Moleskine. Who and what did you see? You were screaming that they are dead.
Yes, I went to Lisa. She lives on, or lived on Boudin Street. She lives with her friends, so someone is always there. I knocked and knocked, tried to call, but it all went straight into the voicemail. I know that she has an emergency key hidden under the mat, so I used it. I went into the house and I saw it. Bodies, blood, a freaking slaughterhouse, man. The TV in the room was still on with this ear-splitting white noise. I felt sick and held strongly not to vomit in the house, only to check if Lisa is among the dead. She wasn't, but I recognized Anna, who sublet Lisa's house. She had her throat torn inside out. I ran outside, called the police and waited for them. When they had finally came and rushed through the house, an officer came to me and said that there are no bodies, no blood. I came into the house again, and he was right. Only the TV was snowing like before, with this tape inside old VCR. It was stuck, so I had to untangle the tape, but aside from that, I am certain, Jack, I saw dead people, and I know that Pat and Hattie cleaned the house before the police arrived.
How do you know that?
Because I saw a white van leaving from the back alley that Lisa's house is adjacent to as soon as the 5-0 started flashing lights. It was the same van we used on the set, because one of the back doors was black.
So maybe a colleague or colleagues from the movie set did a joke on you. This fake blood is very...
No! I know those people very well. We've acted together for nearly a decade, and all of them are missing now, some with spouses even. On my way here I saw it again. The van. So I know that whoever did this is onto me. May I look outside the window?
He walked to the window, waking up Cal, and looked in searching of this mystery van.
Yes, there it is, my God. They are waiting for me. Please help me.
I looked at the white dot that in those stormy darkness could be a van, as well as a pink Volkswagen Beetle or even a cardboard box with a hobo inside of it. I had enough of those mysteries for the day. So I advised Alex that since he is de facto in a hotel, he should rent a room for the night, and tomorrow, when everything is clearer, we'll talk. He reluctantly agreed. I called concierge Tony and asked for a room with fair price, not with the tourist's tariff. With all set, Alex left my office with serene smile. I, however, since renting room for an office and sleeping in it is forbidden by the hotel's regulations, basically it is desk or a bed, had to get my army coat from behind one of the enormous moth-eaten red velvet curtains, set it up, brush my teeth in a sink that is on the corridor, and go to sleep. Of course I couldn't, so I lay and thought, whose case should I take? A missing German girl? A rich, faceless man looking for some scientist? Or help the raving actor? Which one? Which case should I take? Which one? You are listening to Radio Drama Game, a place where your choices have consequences. Now you can go to radiodramagame.com and decide what should happen next, and also see the credits for this episode. Good night.